All right, you guys, I just watched Iyanla Fix My Life and Momma Drama. That's the name of it. So let's go ahead and get into this because I think that this is so true with a lot of people today. So let's go ahead and get into it. Hey you guys, welcome back to our channel. My name is Kourtney and my husband Eddie is not here because I do Iyanla Fix My Life by myself. Iyanla, Iyanla, however. Alright you guys, so before we get into it, let me tell you what this channel is all about. This channel is about Kourtney and Eddie. We do relationships, topics, reviews, and right now I'm doing Iyanla Fix My Life. Y'all gonna trip me up with trying to pronounce this lady name correctly, okay? And yeah, today this was pretty good, you know. Like I said, I don't think this is something far-fetched. I think a lot of families deal with it. So before we get into that, make sure that you subscribe if you hadn't already. If that subscribe button says red, you have not subscribed. If you looking outside the app, get inside the app so that you can subscribe because it won't let you subscribe outside the app. And if you're watching this via Facebook, make sure that you hit like and follow. If you've been watching these videos via Facebook, make sure up there it says follow as well as like. Because it doesn't really count if you don't hit like. It counts if you hit like and not just follow. Okay, hope that makes sense. And on all social media sites, make sure you comment when you see this video posted. And make sure that you have your notification bells on. All right, you guys. So let's go ahead and get into it. So it was called Momma Drama. So you have a 40-year-old man basically torn between two families. He's recently found his biological mother and he has siblings, and he's torn between his adopted parents versus his biological mother and family. Well, really the mothers, not necessarily the siblings. So his name is Terrell. He's 40 years old. He feels stuck between his biological and adopted family. Iyanla basically brings him into the living room and has all these pieces around him because, like she said through this, it's hard to piece your life together if you don't know where you come from. If you don't know that you're part of this and this is going on and that going on, you just you're not even whole. So it's so vital for everybody to know their family, to know their pieces, to know what's been going on, to know why your mom is like this, why your dad is like this, and why, you know, have you heard it, and I know my mom says this a lot. If my kids do something, they'll be like, I wonder where they got that from. You know, I wonder where they got that from, because it's most of the time who we are is tied to who we, our parents, our great-grandparents, somebody in our family. So it's really hard to figure out why you do what you do if you don't know your family. You know, so it's so critical and crucial for you to know your family. Terrell said that his biological mom offends him with her words. Not sure if he's getting this information via his sisters or she's actually telling him this, but she is saying that she don't think her son would be gay if she raised him, and she's also possessive over saying this is my son versus his versus his adopted mom. He ended up finding his mom by doing the DNA test, and then eventually I think his siblings reached out to him on Facebook, or he reached out to them, one of them. He found out that his mom had him when she was 12 years old. I'm like, 12? Ugh, wow. I cannot imagine. I really cannot imagine having a child at 12 years old. I mean, you still a child. Now we say when somebody has a child when they 19, like I did, or in their early 20s or 17, see, they're just a child having a child. But imagine having a child at 12. Like, you're not even fully developed most of the time, especially I know your brain wise, but especially some of your body parts. You're not even a lady. You ain't even got full breasts, and you may not even. Well, she had to have a cycle, yeah. That's true. She had to have a cycle. So it's like, wow. So she ended up having a child at 12, and I think 13 and 14, because his siblings, they like a year apart. So she had them back to back. They didn't talk about, you know, who the rest of her children's fathers were or what happened to her, but they did kind of go into details about who his father was. So Iyanla said that there are some powerful people, because he had a problem with being adopted. You know, he felt some type of way about why his mom gave him up at 12, but I guess you can really see that she wasn't ready to raise a child at 12 years old. And so she began to explain to him that, listen, you know, don't feel bad about being adopted. There's some powerful men out here. Jamie Foxx was adopted. Did not know that. Tommy Davidson was adopted. I did not know that. So, you know, she wanted him to be okay with being adopted. It's okay. So she comes in. She's talking to her, his sister. She did talk to the adopted parents. And, you know, just basically letting them know, you know, are y'all okay with this process? How does it feel? How does it make you feel? You know, we're going to kind of get to the root of it. And we want y'all to come together as a family. So she comes and she's talking to his sisters, which is Angelica, or I know I'm pronouncing it wrong, Angela, I guess you can say, and Alex, which is 29. Angelica, that's probably her name. That's the way it's wrote. That's not what I see it though. Angelica, 32. Alex found out that her brother, that she had a brother about the age of 10 years old. Her aunt told her. But her mom is shutting down and does not want to tell her sister, her daughters, that they got a brother. Like, I'm telling y'all, when I say this, I mean it, because I know. Family secrets are a beast, and it's the straight up devil. I don't care what you say. It is the devil. It's the straight up devil. I think that people need to know their history. They need to know their background. They need to know who their dad is, their mommy. If you got that information, share it. No, it's never going to be a convenient time to tell nobody. Nobody needs to know who their parents are when the parent in the dead, in the ground. Nobody needs to know who, you know, their mom was, and found out that you thought that was your auntie, but that's your mama all along, and now she dead and you can't even talk about it, because now they want to reveal everything after the fact. That is the devil. That's the devil, when you can't address it to that person, when that person don't even know who they are, when they thought that so-and-so was their mama, so-and-so was their dad, and then all of a sudden, yeah, I'm telling you, if you're watching this video and you got a family secret, get in the face of God and try to find out how you're going to tell somebody that secret. Point blank and period, because it's your responsibility not to leave a child or somebody else in ignorance. So the auntie, I guess she kept feeling convicted and letting them know that, listen, y'all got a brother out there. You got other siblings out there. Like I've said it before on here, if other people watched it, that, you know, I was able to let my children know, look, y'all got some siblings out here. You want to know who it is? That one and that one and that one. They was not finna live like they were the only two children that their father had. Nope, not at all. So I'm going to tell you who they are. So I think that that's very important. I despise family secrets. I really do. You know, it's certain stuff you can keep a secret, a surprise, or somebody's business that don't pertain to, you know, you being the father or the mother, or something like that can really and truly help that person get through life, or hinder that person. No. Now, if something happened to you and then, okay, keep this secret, that's cool. But we're talking about something like that, so I don't blame the auntie. Shout out to the auntie if you watching this video. Big props to you, because these children needed to know. And the mom continued to hold it in. So Iyanla was talking about the sadness that she's feeling from Alex. Alex has all of this sad demeanor that she's feeling from her. Angelica was not raised by her mom, but her parents raised her. So now you got another dynamic. So the Angelica wasn't fully raised by her mom, and then Alex was. So, and Angela, which is the mom, all these A's. You see, then we got Terrell. So where'd that come from? So Angela, which is 52 years old, she's coming in the room and she's seeing all the things that her son has displayed from this age to that age, because Iyanla wanted him to come in and do a timeline, put pictures up, do a timeline, look at your whole life, you know, from, I guess, 40 on up. Because this is the first time he found out his parents. He was, I guess, his mom at 39. So 40 on up. And so she comes in and look at what he put up. And she just feels like if he would have been with her, he would have been a different person. Well, it looks like he done went to Paris. He done lived a good life. He sings. He does all these talents. And what makes you think because you were broken, you messed up, you have a child after child after child running around, hiding your children from the protective centers, from DHR, as we call it down here in the South, from DHR. So what in the world do you think that life you could have provided for him when you couldn't even watch out for one of your children because one of your children had to go and live with their grandparents? The mind. I don't know what life she thought she could have gave him. So this is my take. Iyanla said that he would have been in London. He wouldn't have been in London if he was with you. Iyanla said you are okay with his gay lifestyle. So she's asking his mom this, and she's not okay with his gay lifestyle because she said that, you know, biblically, that is not what God wants for us. And I agree with that. But that's his lifestyle. You know, you wasn't in his life. You had nothing to do with that part of it. So, you know, he now gay. So, you know, you pray about it, deal with it, love him and accept it, and move on with your life. That's it. You know, so you can't come in here and tell him, well, you shouldn't have, you couldn't have, you didn't, and all this stuff. No, you was messed up, and you still at a point of being messed up. So how can you even talk about that when you had no dealings or nothing to do with that? Love your son. Gay or not, love your son. You know, I know, being a Christian myself, it's not something that I believe in. I know biblically what the word of God says. But one thing God does say is love all his people. So we have to love, we have to embrace. It's a lot of stuff people do, not just being gay, that we don't agree with their lifestyle. But it's funny how we will take somebody that's gay and condemn them to hell, but not somebody that lied, not somebody that sleep with everybody's husband, not somebody that'll sit up here and steal, not somebody that sit here and murder, but we condemn the person that's gay all the way to hell. But we don't deal with the other stuff that be going on in other people. Like, we give them a pass because they not gay. Come on now. Let's keep that stuff real. She talk about, I know what the Bible says, but what about the stuff that you seem like you holding in your heart against whoever? The Bible talks about us being forgivers too. So let's not condemn somebody because of the lifestyle choice that they chose or didn't chose, whatever they say. You know, the lifestyle choice of that, when we have a whole bunch of other stuff that we need to deal with. Point blank and period. I'm just saying. That's for another video. All right, because I got a lot to say on that. So she don't agree with his lifestyle, and I want him to. She just want to have a conversation with him. Well, he 40 years old, but conversation over. Ain't nothing you can do about that. You didn't raise him. You gave him up. Don't be mad at the outcome of what he at. You know, he may be gay, but look, he seems to be in his right mind. He seems to be happy. He's just trying to deal with that. He done went to London. He can sing. He do all this stuff. But we just going to say, but you gay, so that's negative. Come on, y'all. So the mom is talking about her experience and why she had a child when she was 12. Seems like that she was some words I cannot say because of YouTube analytics. So, you know, if you watched it, you were able to get a gist of what she said. Some things happened to her when she was young, and it was not her choice. It was by force, and that's how she ended up being pregnant. She never had a childhood because of the people that was around her, and they took away her innocence, and she was really truly denied. She had been in denial about who he is to her daughter. So she wasn't able to really talk about it because of the experience of how the child came about. But I'm trying to figure out, what about 13? What about, are they different men? Did it happen in the same situation, or did that open up a door of you being very promiscuous and you just kind of, you know, hey, putting it out there like that? So that's what I would like to know. So if she denied him, why didn't you deny the rest of them? I guess because they was around you. So I would have liked, and I know it's a 1 hour show, so it's so much stuff that they could not put in there, but I would like to know the dynamics of, you know, how did she choose to give him up for adoption, and what did her auntie say, and what did her mom say? And I think she said her daddy passed away. Excuse me. So now the siblings are sitting down, and Iyanla is asking, she's getting to talk to all of them. They're sitting down at breakfast. Iyanla is asking Alex, how does it feel to have your sister leave you? And then your brother that you heard about, he's not there. So you had a sister there, but then I'm not sure what age she went to live with her grandparents. So you should feel all of that. You are stuck to stay with mom, but why? She breaks down and starts crying because it seems like Alex is the one that holds everything in. She doesn't express much. She doesn't, she's concerned about other people's feelings other than her own. She didn't start school until she was in the 3rd grade because they were running from protective, we call it DHR, protective services. I think that's what it's called. And her mom abused her physically and emotionally, so they running around. So that's the kind of lifestyle she had, while her brother is living a nice lifestyle, gets traveling, going to London. He can sing, he do all this stuff, and I'm sure they want out and say he got a sister because they wanted a boy and a girl, so they ended up adopting him. And then her other sister is living with their grandparents. Her grandparents, and seems like, like Iyanla said, you ate, you had food, you had shelter. So I don't know if she was raised up in a bad home with her grandparents, but it didn't seem like it. So she is, hanging with her mom. Angelica wanted to protect her. She wanted to protect her sister because I think she was the oldest one. But Iyanla wants them to talk about their experiences. And she wants to let them know your experience isn't talking about your mom. See, a lot of times people don't want to deal with the real facts. Let's deal with the real facts. Whatever your experience it is your experience. It's not talking about whoever. It's just your experience. It is what it is. And you can talk about it. And it's okay to talk about it. And not talking about the experience doesn't protect your mother, but it hurts her. And it keeps her ignorant. So basically talk about your stuff. Talk about your past. Talk about how you feel. Talk about your present. Talk about what you've been through. I don't care if it was one person that had something to do with all the dynamics of your hurt and your pain and your struggles. Talk about it. Talk about it. Open your mouth and begin to talk. Because let me tell you something. Talking provides healing. And I think that people don't really grab that. Like I said before, and I appreciate you guys that come on here and watch the videos that I do on Iyanla. I know the views are not that big. It is what it is. I'm going to continue to do it because just my experiences may help somebody else, or even this breaking it down on the show may help somebody else. And that's great. And so like I've said it before, I know I went through something very horrific in my younger years. And it shaped me into the person that I am, but it shaped me in a way of hurt and pain. And so I had to, because the Spirit of God wanted me to. I forgot how old I was, maybe in my late 20s. He said, talk about it. And I'm like, talk about it to who and with who? So I began to talk about my experience. The more I talked about it, the more healing I began to get. If you do not talk about it, you will not be healed. I'm telling you. Let me tell you something. I wrote letters to myself. This is a different experience than a few years ago. This was when I was like in my 20s. I wrote letters to myself. I began to tell people what happened to me in my experience when I was younger and what it did to me, and found out that other people had that same experience. Because this is what he said. When you have a wound, right? If you was to take this and you cut yourself, you're going to immediately put a bandage on, right? That's just what we do. If it's bleeding, we're going to put a bandage on. But that bandage can only last for so long because it's stopping the bleeding, right? Once the bleeding stops, you need to take that bandage off, because if not, it's going to start to get infected. It's going to start to smell. It's going to get nasty because the moisture is going to hit. Because when we got a bandage on, we wash dishes, we do everything with it, right? It's going to get dry, wet, dry from sweat. So the Holy Spirit began to say, take the bandage off. When you take the bandage off, then you can begin to heal. A lot of people are not discussing their things that they've been through. They're not discussing, their past, because they not healing. They still got that bandage on. The longer you cover it up and do not discuss it, the longer it is going to sour. It's going to stink. It's going to get reinfected. And there's no healing going to come to it. Healing does not take place if you don't open your mouth. Healing does not take, that's why you have therapy. That's why you have people going to see a therapist. It's because they're talking. They're talking it out. And when they start talking it out, a lot of times those emotions come up. They cry, they weep, they get angry, they get all this stuff. Talk about it. And that's what the Holy Spirit had told me, I say 10, 15 years ago. And as I begin to talk about it, then that's when healing started taking place to me. And for some people, you need to talk about that thing in details, because the more you talk about it, the more healing is going to take place. Make sure you have a safe place to talk to, because you got to get it out. Even if you're in a place and you talking to God, talk to yourself, talking to God, you just talking out loud, going by detail of what happened to you, of what you remember. Then that stuff will start coming up out of you. You got to get it out. And so that's what he said about the bandage. So just like a bandage, you got to let healing take place. You cannot keep that stuff hidden. You can't keep it buried in, because it won't get no air to be able to breathe. I thought that was a good analogy that the Holy Spirit gave me. So mom is, so the mom comes in, and Alex is basically telling her experience. She was abusive physically, mentally. She was attached to her. She felt abandoned, and she felt like she was not important. That's how her mom made her feel. Well, her mom at that point is tensing up and getting tight. Iyanla like, loosen up, mom, loosen. Because the attack is not to you per se. You shouldn't take it personally. You were young, and that's just the way you made her feel. So don't get mad like you finna get ready to snap, because that's what it looked like. She was finna get ready to go ham on her. But that's her experience. So Angelica was telling her experience, and I may be saying these names wrong, y'all, so I'm sorry. Hopefully you watching, you know who I'm talking about. She said that she longed for her mom, and most children do. That's one thing most children do. I don't care if their mom was a horrible mom, if she was on drugs or whatever, they long for their mom. And she said, but she was with her grandparents, and she wanted to be with her mom. Natural for a child. She still looked like she was like, Y'all know, like, what's that face for? She was like, I'm just saying, I did my best, and again, I'm saying this was not personal. It's just their experience. Mom is tight and getting an attitude. Iyanla was like, I want you to say you failed. I'm sorry, I failed you. And she said, I just didn't know. So she tried to make excuses for all of that. But, she felt it was a personal attack. So she wants Terrell to tell his experience. Now, I said, Terrell got to come behind all that. One, she started getting tight. Two, she started getting real tight. Three, she just finna shut down. So I'm like, good grief. And so Terrell just saying, basically, he said, I got to take on all of this. And he's seeing his sister's pain. He's seeing his sister's burden. He said, and first of all, you not receiving it. I said, you better come on. Y'all assistant, honey, because you finna break it down to your mama. And he said, this is a lot of pain for me, and I can't take all this pain. I got to deal with my own and deal with you. So he said, this is just a lot. Now let's move on to the fact where he's now expressing how he feels. He shares that he is a gay man and he's comfortable with being gay, and that, I know it goes against your belief, but that's just who I am. He said that and how could you raise, he's coming to the terms of how could you raise me at 12 years old? You couldn't, I've thought about that, and I'm okay with that you chose to give me up for adoption. And he said, and I lived a good life. He was like, if I would have been with you, I would have been on drugs. I could have been on drugs, in jail, or dead. So I'm coming to grips with the life that I had with my adopted parents was a really good life. I'm saying you got that right, because your mama was not in a good place to raise you. You can look at your siblings and tell what they've been through. Mom talks on how she got pregnant at 12 years old, and I kind of went over that. The auntie basically told her children, but I was going to say that she went over her auntie house, and her auntie boyfriend, friend, which is Terrell's dad, ended up attacking her. And nobody protected her. Her mom wasn't there. She really wanted her dad. It seems like that her dad, she I think somebody passed away. I'm not sure if it's the dad or the mom, but she really wanted her dad. So, nobody was there to protect her. Iyanla says, so basically this stuff passed down. You wasn't there to protect your children because nobody was there to protect you. Point blank and period. So in actuality, who can we blame? We can go back up the tree. You want to blame her mama? You want to blame her mama because maybe her mama wasn't there for that, and her mama there, and her mama. It can go back to the beginning. Like, who are we? So that's why I say, okay, once you realize the truth, it ain't nobody to blame. They didn't have the skills that they needed, so let's not blame them. Only thing you need to do is make sure you straight so it won't pass down to your children. Because y'all say that all the time. If you don't get it straight, then your child, your daughter, your son gonna be sitting up here talking to me about you. And that's something we don't want to do. Let's make the change. Let's reverse the curse. The curses can be reversed. You don't have to have a generation of curse. Does not mean it got to go down the generations. That's something that people say. The curse can stop with you. You don't have to pass it on to your children, the children's children, children's children. So one thing that the mom did, she started breaking down the crime because it seems like y'all noticed that you need a good cry. A good cry is everything. Do you hear me? It is everything. If you got to scream, cry, yell, whatever you got to do, you need to find a safe place to cry. One of my places I used to cry was in my shower. Put that towel over your mouth if you want to scream out, because ain't nobody, when my kids were younger, ain't nobody, they ain't finna come in there. Water running, so ain't nobody, so if you want to find a shower, if you want to, the bathroom, whatever, but find a place where you can let it out, because that stuff building up on the inside of you, it will get you angry, it will get you depressed, it will get you furious, it will have you with a sour attitude. I'm telling you, crying is such a cleanser, especially with God. It's such a cleanser. Like she was saying when the mom was crying, she was saying, help me, God. We don't know how much crying she did. That could have been edited, or she could have went to another place and did more crying. So now we come to the very end of this where the moms are coming together, because it seems like that one mom is jealous over the other mom and said, well, if she coming in on your status, I ain't finna say nothing and stuff. So he want the mom to get out their feelings. They've never met before. So this is now they're coming down, sitting down and meeting together. They give each other a hug. And so the biological mom is saying that, she said, first, I want to thank you for raising my son. I said, well, you better say my son. And I'm open to having a relationship with you. And so the adopted mom said, thank you for saying that. I really needed that. And she's definitely open to have a relationship with him, with them as well. And so, she said, he is a good son. And, it was a joy. She was honored to raise him. I was like, come on, grown woman stuff. Grown woman stuff. So now Terrell comes in and he's like caught up in the middle. And I guess, it's just how it is. He don't know which side to sit on. They probably did that on purpose. So he's like, should I sit on biological, sit on the mom? So he sat on the adopted mom's side, but he sat at the end of the couch. And he basically told them that, he wants them to know that I'm both of your son. And y'all, sometimes I'm put in the middle, or I am in the middle. And y'all was like, yeah, you are. You just got to make sure that you make both of them, I guess, in a sense, feel comfortable where you're talking to both of them. Nobody feels like, well, he giving her all. And they probably will. It is what it is. But that's just, hey, 40 years old. Come on, y'all. Let's know that we can get past this. Iyanla said this, and I thought it was very important. She went ahead and invited everybody in, his adopted father as well as his siblings, and how they discuss how, they all look alike as far as the nose and everything. And, I thought it was good. I pray that they continue on the road of healing. I pray that they continue to build a relationship with each other, and I pray that they have success in their relationship, because hey, it works. Iyanla said this, and I kind of said this in the beginning. Iyanla said that you may not like all the pieces. You know, like I said, we don't know who we are. If I didn't know who my dad was, then I wouldn't know who fully I am. And I'm so grateful, even though my mom and dad got a divorce when I was young. I'm so grateful. And it's with times where I was in and out. You know, my dad was in and out. He may say he'll pick us up or not pick us up, whatever. But as I got older, I got married, I began to, you know, see my dad. He stayed not too far from where, you know, at that time my first husband lived there. So I got to see him. I got to, you know, interact with him, and as a grown adult, he got to see his grandchildren and everything. And so I'm glad, because the sickness that took place in my dad's body when, I don't know, when I was in my 20s or 30s, and he ended up passing away. But one thing I'm glad to know is I got to know who my dad was. I didn't get to know him growing up. I got to know him in my adult age, because I've realized that I get my sense of humor from my daddy. What if I didn't know that? You know, my dad will crack you up. I mean, I may not be fun on these videos, but if you was to spend some time with me, I think that you would think I'd be funny. Or maybe you didn't want. It's up to you. But I got to know where my sense of humor come from. I got to know where my little joke telling come from. I got to know it came from my dad. I believe also that my dad run his mouth, because he used to run his mouth to me, and I got that from him as well. My mama said he didn't talk that much like me, but I think he did. And so, and one thing my mom did, she never discredited him. She never talked about him, you know, when he wasn't in our life. She never said anything. But so I was able to build my own narrative of how my dad was, on how he, one, treated us, because he didn't come around, and two, number one, when I got older, I began to see who he really was. It was like, my dad is cool. He's cool. All right, I see you. So I didn't hold grudges against him. I didn't harbor anything in my heart against him, because I'm just like, you know, he can only do with what he can do with. Some people can only love you to the capacity they're able to love you, and only do for you at the capacity they're able to do for you. And we're all different. The way I love, the way I would handle the situation may be different than somebody else. But who are we blaming? Nobody. Somehow God made them your parents. Deal with it and let's move on. All right. So she said, Iyanla said, you may not like all the pieces, but you must acknowledge them, because all the pieces will make you who you are today. Just acknowledge it. If you got somebody in your family you ain't happy with, one thing we can't do, we can't put our family together, because I'm quite sure a lot of us, if we could, we would change. Oh, take that one out. Oh, take it out. Put that one in. But we don't. We can't. That's just no way. It's, you know, it was set up before the foundation of the world, who we was going to be, who my mom and my dad was going to connect with and make me. I can't change that. But I can change how I deal with it, and I can accept who I am in the pieces. So I thought that this was a very good part of Iyanla Fix My Life. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I try not to make this video long, but you know, sometimes I get to talking, and I hope it helps somebody, you know. So anyway, on that note, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Make sure that you like as well as follow. If you're watching this via Facebook, on all social media sites, make sure that you like as well as comment in the comment section. And I will see you guys in the next video. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Don't forget to go with God and let God go with you. And I will say on that note, deuces.